Hi guys, I'm very pleased to talk to you again. So today we are going to talk a little bit about second year back examination. What are the things that every student needs to know before they sit for the national exam? By the way, of course, you will be examinated next July. This is what the Minister of Education had said. Now, let's give a definition of the national exam. What is a baccalaureate exam? The baccalaureate English exam is a final written achievement test based on the content of the textbook taught for second year baccalaureate students in high school. The national exam is split into 3 sections. The first one is reading and comprehension. The second section is called language. In language, you have exercises or activities related to vocabulary, grammar, and functions. And the last section is for writing. Now, let's talk about the first section, reading and comprehension. So, in this section, you need to know how to identify the main idea in details. You identify specific information, make inferences, infer word meaning from the context, identify reference, identify discourse markers and their functions in the text, distinguish fact from opinion, identify the author's attitude and purpose, transfer information from text to chart, diagram, or table, identify the logical order of ideas in the text, evaluate ideas expressed in the text, and draw conclusions from the text. Now, let's talk about types of reading passages you have. In the national exam, you will have reading text that could be in the form of newspaper, articles, letters, biographies, film or book reviews, reports, and advertisements. They can be narrative, they can be informative, descriptive, or argumentative texts. Now it's time to see the types of questions that you will have in reading and comprehension section. So the first one is choose the best title for the passage. Tick the questions that the passage answers. Are these sentences true or false? And justify. Answer these questions. You have WH questions that starts with why, when, what, how. Complete the following sentences. Fill in each blank with a word or an expression from the text. Find in the text words or expressions that mean the same as. What do the underlined words in the text refer to? Pick out from the text sentences or phrases which show that match the main idea with the corresponding paragraph. You have also other questions like put the following ideas, arguments, sentences, events in the correct order, according to the text, of course. What is the writer's opinion, attitude, purpose, etc.? Choose the right answer from this list or from the list given. Fill in the chart with the right information from the text. Match the words or expressions with the right explanations, according to the text. What lesson does the writer want to teach us? So here we have a list of questions that you are expected to answer in the reading and comprehension section. Now we have the language section. So the language section, it includes vocabulary, grammar, and functions. Now let's start with vocabulary. So you are supposed to know collocations, word associations, definitions of key terms, synonyms, antonyms, polywords, word formation, suffixes, prefixes in their meaning, phrasal verbs, idiomatic expressions, With respect to grammar, you are required to recognize and use language accurately and appropriately. For example, you may have questions about tenses, wishes in the present, in the past, if only plus past, and conditionals, including conditional type 3. Reporting commands, statements, and questions in the present, in the past. So this question is related to reported speech. Next, modal verbs in the present and past, infinitive in gerund, phrasal verbs with particular focus on the meaning of particles, passive voice with different tenses, passive void modals, restrictive and non-restrictive clauses, linking words. So these lessons should be reviewed. Grammar questions. Put the verbs between brackets in the correct tense. Put the verbs between brackets in the correct form. Or fill in each gap with an appropriate word or expression from the list. Fill in each gap with an appropriate word or expression. Fill in each gap with an appropriate phrasal verb. Fill in each gap with an appropriate collocation, or fill in the gap. Match the words that go together to make appropriate collocations. Rewrite the sentences beginning with the words given. Rewrite the sentences as indicated. Match the words with the corresponding definitions, synonyms, antonyms. In the next slide, we have replace each underlined word with an appropriate synonym. Provide the appropriate words for the following definitions. Give the correct form of the word between brackets. Join the pair of sentences with the linking words given. Match its expression with its appropriate function. What does each sentence express? Choose the best answer. Complete the following dialogues appropriately. Correct the underlined mistakes. You have mistakes and they ask you to correct them. Write an appropriate response to the following situations. Match the exchanges with the appropriate functions. Put the following exchanges in the correct order. So here you have different types of questions that you are supposed to know. Now let's move to the last part in the language section. The functions to be tested at this level are as follows. Rhetorical functions, and we have communication functions. So functions are split into two parts or two types, rhetorical and communication functions. So let's start with rhetorical. So we have defining, cause, effect, purpose, addition, and concession. For communication functions, we have making and responding to requests, responding to good and bad news, expressing regret, complaining, apologizing, asking for and giving advice, expressing opinion, agreeing and disagreeing, expressing certainty and uncertainty, expressing lack of understanding, and asking for clarification. For the last part of your final back exam, for writing, you are required to write a piece of writing about a particular topic or issue related to the themes dealt with in the syllabus. For some exercises, you are given sometimes additional prompts that can be provided just to help you write a good report or paragraph or a letter or email. It depends. Okay, here we have a table that shows different formats or genres and types of writing to be tested. So, format, genre of writing. We have formal, informal letters, film review, articles, email, and report. For the types of writing, we have narrative, descriptive, cause and effect, describing a process, comparison and contrast, argumentation or argumentative writing work. Here we are going to talk a little bit about scoring criteria. So, in writing, there are 3 points for the relevance of content to the tasks. We have 2 points for paragraph in composition organization. So, the organization of your piece of writing is very important because you will be given 2 marks or 2 points if your organization is good. Next, appropriateness and variety of vocabulary. Here you show what you have learned. The vocabulary that you have and spelling, how you introduced or how you put the word in the right expression or in the right sentence. So you are given 2 points. Accuracy of grammar, 2 points. Mechanics, spelling, punctuation, capitalization, you have 1 point. So this table is very important to know. Now, let's look at the grading scale. For vocabulary, you have 4 points. Grammar, 7 points. And functions, 4 points. So the total is 15 points. Time allocation for each stream. For art classes or art students, you have coefficient 4. Time allocation, 3 hours. Concerning humanities, coefficient 3 hours. And all science, technical and original streams, they have coefficient 2 and the time allocation is 2 hours. Now, let's move to talk a little bit about grading scale or weighting. The test consists of 3 sections. We know this. Reading comprehension, and we have language and writing. So for reading and comprehension, you have 37.5%. For language, 37.5%. And for writing, 25%. So the weighting designed for each section is specified as follows. The table shows streams, reading, language, writing. So for reading you have 15 out of 40, language 15 out of 40, and the last part writing 10 out of 40. So thank you very much for your attention. I wish you the best of luck in your final back examination. Take care of yourself and see you in the coming videos.